I'd like to tell you a story about our rain barrel. Several years ago, I got one at Home Depot because I wanted to try out collecting rain from our gutters and use it to water a little raised bed garden that we had. And at our old house, it worked great. We had it up right by the house in the gutters, and the gardens were a little further down, kind of a small hill. Our yard kind of sloped down, and gravity would just carry the water from the rain barrel through a hose, and we could easily water these raised beds and work great. It was plenty of water, and it rained enough and filled up very quickly when it did rain, so it never was an issue. And then we moved to our new house, and we put the rain barrel in, but the raised bed gardens that we have are almost the same level as the rain barrel, so gravity wasn't as helpful as it had been, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But the reason I wanted to do this video is because we're getting a SCALA1, which is a little jet booster pump made by Grundfos, and I work for Grundfos, so we're doing this together. And I've paired it with a little drip irrigation system that I got also at Home Depot, and that's going to feed the garden because the pump is going to provide a little bit of pressure to move the water from the rain barrel up through this irrigation system. So we got a couple of plumbers and a couple of electricians and a couple of Grundfos people to chat about it and do all the work and put it in, and I wanted to show you the whole process and how it went. So here we go. All right, today's the day. We're gonna get the pumps installed. I've got right here in front of me the first one. This is the SCALA1. This is a little jet booster that's gonna go on our rain collection system to help water our garden with free water. All right, so I'm here at the site where we're gonna put in the SCALA1, which is a little jet booster. I have a rain barrel right there that right now I can use it to feed the garden that's here, but unfortunately there's a little bit of an uphill slope here, so I can't really get much pressure out of it. That's why we're putting in the SCALA. I'm also going to put in a little drip irrigation system here that will maybe reduce the pressure or at least create some back pressure for the SCALA to pump against, and it'll actually be better at watering all these plants here. I bought a couple, and I really like this Rainbird setup. It's got a lot of the right fixtures in it, and it's got plenty of piping and good connections. It even has a pressure reducing valve in it, and a filter. So those are going to come in pretty handy. So I'm going to start putting that in here, and then we'll be ready for the installation. All right, so the way that this drip irrigation works is I've got our main hose that's going right along the beds, and then every once in a while where I want to spot water something, I've got these little flow controllers that poke right into the main hose. This one is a 2 gallon per hour. There's another one that's a 1 gallon per hour. Tube comes out, I've got a little stake, and then the dripper at the very end. So I've got this pipe running all the way down beds, and it terminates here at the end right next to the hot peppers. But I'll be putting in a few more of these hopefully by the end of tonight after dinner. All right, so I'm outside where we're doing the booster pump install, and I wanted to show you this beefy filter. This is a 250 micron filter that we're going to put on the inlet of the pump, because with the rain barrel, you're not getting more than just rain coming out. You're getting shingle, sand, and potentially leaves and things like that. So we don't want any of that going into the pump. It'll chew up impellers and cause a lot of problems. So this filter is going in the front of it, and I'm probably going to have to clean this every once in a while to get all the debris out of it. But the most thing that I ever see coming through that barrel are little bits of grit from the shingles on the roof and bugs. So we'll keep the bugs out too.
Option, Amazon special kind of deal. Shoot. And then this is probably, I don't know, maybe a little more reliable, but it's just a vertical float.
What's up? I was just telling you, mention it.
Okay.
Well,
this one,
my
more of a
internet
slide
went out,
switch.
so I'm like, hey, can I go ahead
Yeah,
and
so
go down
that,
there and
that's
install? I
gonna
said, yeah,
slide
go
up and
ahead.
down that.
Correct.
I'm talking about float switches.
So the only problem
Do you
is you
find
need a
the-
lot longer
I
rod.
was gonna say, you're gonna need a longer rip, but don't they get gummed up every now and then? I mean, I've never had really
These
good
were-
luck with slide switches.
These work great.
Do they?
I disagree. I haven't had any trouble with them. I mean, even in some pumps or whatever, these are the best.
Okay.
And you can now we have to do some finagling with a different rod and extend it or something. But it's a magnet switch, but you would not want the top underwater.
Right.
Okay.
So that would have to go clear at the top. It'd have to go all the way down. And you can let the float come all the way up. Well, let me think about that. When it's up, it's on. So how they work is it'll stay on because it's a magnet. It won't shut off until it drops all the way down and hits the bottom and pops
Right.
off.
So where would this be mounted?
That's a good question. So that's a little bit bad because we're remote. But this
Right.
could be mounted on the side of the house. These have long leads.
Could it be inside the house, right where they're poking that hole through for the electrical?
If the leads are long enough, yeah.
Run them into, yeah.
So you should know at this point, when the electricians were working on getting the conduit put in, that we ended up having a long discussion about GFCI outlets and VFDs. A GFCI outlet stands for ground fault circuit interrupting, and it's designed so that if there's some sort of short circuit or high current situation, like you stick a metal object into an outlet kind of situation, the circuit is designed to cut power to that outlet within a few milliseconds. And it's a pretty typical thing to be installed. Like our house has tons of them around. You typically see them around water things like sinks or garbage disposals, bathtubs, things like that. And it's great to have. They're great safety features. The trouble is that when you pair them with a VFD or variable frequency drive, then they don't get along. Now, a VFD is great to have on a pump. It lets you control the speed of a motor and really lets you dial in on some performance point that you're looking for. It makes the whole setup really efficient and performs exactly the way you need. You can do lots of great control features like constant pressure, constant flow, constant temperature, whatever. Anyway, great feature. But there's a kind of a backflow of current, electrical current, that happens when you're operating a VFD, and it's the exact kind of thing that will trip a GFCI outlet. So if you put a pump that has a VFD on a GFCI outlet, it will trip almost every time. So we were a little concerned about that because one of the pumps in the SCALA family has a VFD on it. It's great for constant pressure and it's a fantastic product. But we had to have a GFCI outlet here because it's an outlet that's outside the house, and rain, moisture, random kids in the neighborhood poking around on it. You want that kind of safety feature. So we were worried that the pump and the outlet wouldn't get along. Fortunately for this situation, the SCALA1 does not have a VFD in it. It is just a on-off motor, and we can control it using like the level sensor input that's on-off or something like that. And so we aren't going to have to worry about the GFCI interference, which is great. But we had a long chat about it, and it did bring up a concern that might be a problem in the future with other installations. So Becky Henderson, our sales rep that was here, she wanted to see the electrical code because the electricians were adamant that it was in the code. So they went back to the truck and they pulled out their book and they looked up the section and we read it over, and we're going to have some people look at it to make sure that we don't have any issues like this in the future. But it was a fun and very nerdy discussion.
And
So
we
you
can
got the
face
outlets?
it that way. So I'll get a shovel and I'm going to just take out a little of this grass and we'll slide it over a little. So there's some room.
Yeah, we need room for the filter.
Filter. Yeah. So it'll have to come over
Probably quite a bit.
Figured out yet who to recommend for these.
like that. That gives us plenty of room. Oh yeah, gotta get the.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the connectors, guys?
Frank ordered a whole case of them.
We've been having a hard time sourcing
Yeah,
them.
us too. So this is what we ended up with. They're fairly lightweight.
Right.
Yeah, right. We got them from Nelson.
One Nelson.
Win Nelson. So is that a 3/4?
Yeah.
That's
It's a
one.
1 inch,
Three
but it's
quarter
height.
washer ID.
Yep.
Yeah, these are the kinds that we're looking at.
Nice thing is they.
Well, I handed ones to Brian like this, and he took it and he twisted it into a knot. But the thing is, Brian is
Well, yeah, he's
he
kind
wants
of up
he wanted the big stainless reinforced ones that I had.
You know what the
and stuff.
problem with those are?
right. The braided
Is that they're
reinforced.
always putting pressure on everything because they want to go back straight.
They want to go back
They're-
straight.
Everything wants to go straight.
Yeah.
These are fine though. I mean, you can go,
Once
oh,
they
okay,
bend,
we're
yeah.
good.
Oh,
Boom.
okay.
Yeah,
and they
it
stay
did
That's
like
like
nice.
the
Okay,
memory,
that's
yeah.
nice. That's yeah. I
He
like
didn't
that.
like these because
What
he
the only thing I like
twisted
is a
in half.
bigger
Yeah, I know.
ID on those because
Well,
you
we're
put a
Well, wait till we're sucking through that little hose bit. It doesn't have any volume through it.
Yeah.
oh, you're coming from a hose bib.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna have all sorts of.
It's gonna be
So
fun.
yeah, you can
negative
video
pressure
this,
and
Josh, but-
explosions inside that.
Right. So what I did a video years ago with MQ, but I was doing it and I did it at my house. I was the trainer, but now I'm one of our application engineers. And so, but I had a bunch of different sprinkler outlets connected to my hose coming from my hose bib, and you could hear
Yeah.
when I turned that pump on. It was it was
Well, at least you guys are
You're
using
like
flex.
causing
I've
sincere
seen the
pipe
guys who will put a
cavitation.
Oh yeah.
reducer
It worked for my
ratio and
it
It
crimp
worked for
and
my
all that
video,
kind of
but
stuff, and
it's
they're
not
just
ideal
squeezing that
for
thing.
application.
No, we're
Are you
using.
taping?
Well, here's
Of course.
Yes.
the good news though. We're only gonna be running.
I didn't sign it.
What,
I
we're only gonna be running like gallon, half 2 gallons a minute. So we're not gonna have cavitation.
Oh, gallon half. That's no problem. No, I was trying to do like
6 or something.
Six.
Sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that here.
Yeah.
6 or 7 through a hose bib and trying to feed 2 sprinkler heads. And,
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. And, if he starts watering trees with it or something, it won't be for long because it's only 50 gallons.
Yeah.
Is that a
I'm a
suction?
belt and suspenders guy. I'd rather prime it and not need to than need to and not prime it.
Yeah. I'm with
I'm curious with the fittings in particular.
Mhm.
Is it easier to work with those kind of fittings, or would you rather have a female connection on there?
Oh, definitely male when it's plastic.
Yeah,
Because anything female plastic, you're going to split it.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely the way to go.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And, obviously this style hose is going to be a lot easier to get than a double male.
Yeah, right.
And you've got a union fitting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is right.
Cool.
So now
Do
how
we
you
have
feed
enough room
that?
with
You
that?
feed that
Right?
from a
Just
rain
put
barrel?
this right on here.
And then what's your
Oh, we
We
do. Look
should.
at
Use
that.
that for?
Yeah, I
Well, on
mean,
the
we
Scala 2, we
This
don't.
black pipe here is a drip
yeah, we
irrigation.
gotta
We'd need to
lift it
block-
up a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
only.
So it's going to go along here
We've been just letting
and
it
just
in.
feed
Have you?
all those
Oh,
outlets.
I've been piping. I
Okay,
had
so
one
instead of
did you already plumb the
when
drip?
it was at an angle,
Yeah.
and so I piped
So
it so
we
that
just
I
need
could
to.
make it
I
vertical.
left extra
Make like
pipe
sit
on
like
it so we
this,
could,
like when it was turned like that.
you know,
I only had
cut it
one.
to whatever we
Filtered
needed.
inline.
Which is just our sizing website. Can you get the product center from the Go app?
No.
Maybe I'm just old. I
You
like
can get
paper
into-
products.
Okay,
I-
and
I know what
I know
you're,
that's
I
a
know what
catalog.
you're asking
and
for,
I relate to
and
that
I think we
too
can do
because
this.
I'm the guy
Can I
that
have one then?
paper doesn't default on me, and it does. I don't lose signal.
Yeah.
And when you're down in the basement of a mechanical room,
Yep.
cell signal does no good for you at all. So,
Hey, it's Bonnie. Good morning.
You gave my pump away.
Hi, I'm standing out here with your guys, watching them install a SCALA at Josh Talley's house.
Moves, but it doesn't move easy.
I'll start working on this then. How
Oh,
about
your
that?
freebie pump?
I 100% agree with that statement. Kind of like why I don't sell cars to friends. I'll give it to them,
Yeah.
but I won't sell it to them.
Although I need to sell my Jeep, man. I gotta find somebody to buy that Jeep.
All right, so we've got a level switch that's been put in the rain barrel here. You can see it. Those two sensors down there, when it gets to the lower one, it will turn the pump off. It'll just cut power to the pump, and then when it reaches the higher one, if there's water in it and it's time for the pump to run, it'll run. It's a pretty clever little electrical system. All those wires are running along here to this box that I think we're going to put in some sort of a watertight enclosure, and then the pump power will just go right into it so that it will cut it off when it needs to be not running. Looking pretty good. So you're priming it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. How many bugs do we got in the filter so far?
A little bit.
There's just like one right there.
Oh yeah, there it
One
is.
little critter. Try to get the water all through those
It's leaking out of
stages.
the bottom.
Nope.
Wow,
Or
it's-
leaking out of the top.
It's
Oh,
going.
it's-
It's going past the. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's leaking within the shroud there. Right?
Is that the sign that it's primed?
The sign is primed.
Should be pretty good, eh?
It should be pretty good.
Sweet.
Let her
Alright.
rip.
Ripping it. Let it load up here. Oh, you can have this one set up Wi-Fi. What's this?
Those two came with the filter. I've never used them. And I've never seen
Maybe
them.
they're extras or something.
Yeah, I think they're extras.
So
Go
it's
inside here.
Might be.
so
I've never
it's
commissioned one of these.
it's set to stop. So is it off?
He didn't like that.
Uh-huh.
Load.
Would you turn it on?
Maybe my nice little
Wait, is this
control's
off?
not gonna
This
work.
is off. Oh, you open that?
No, it's open. So it killed the power to it. He didn't like that.
What's that saying? Oh, is that the level sensor?
Yeah. Maybe this isn't gonna work. That's too bad.
Okay. It's booting back up here. And it kicked on for a second and shut it right off.
It must be pulling too much power or something for it.
Huh.
This is 15 amp. This is up to 2 horsepower.
Yeah. Should be good.
Well, darn. That was a lot of work for nothing.
What if you plug it in direct?
Yeah, we're gonna get it going.
Make sure it doesn't trip anything else. That sounds better. Okay, there's one little spot by one of the tomatoes there. We should be able to see water coming out. Let's see if it's working. Did it shut off?
Yeah, she's connecting to it.
You should also know that I had to go back and put a cover over the pump because it's really not meant to be exposed to the elements like rain, snow, sprinklers, that sort of stuff. So don't be a chump, cover your pump. All right, so the pump is running and it's working. You can take a look here.
Put them in a box.
There's one of the little drip irrigation outputs. We got two here on some basil plants. Got one working over here on the ghost peppers. And the tomatoes have these little, they're called bubblers. So you can see it in there. Maybe you can see the water spraying for sure. And then we've got one over here.
For 10 minutes. It will run for 10 minutes. It's also.
That one's working too.
Um,
So we have a functional rain barrel drip irrigation system.